Back live at the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour. Bob Marshall along with Jeremy Dale and Marty Reed. There is the third place car, Andy Pilgrim, who has made such a gallant charge through this field. Jan Beekes awaits him.
And Andy Pilgrim comes to bring this car to a stop. They are expecting to change 2 tires on this car. They've decided they will jack the back of the car up, and they will change the 2 rear tires because they don't have much experience with the Hoosier tires. So we'll see that Terry Borchler will get into the car now, being aided by Andy Pilgrim. And we'll keep an eye on the rear tire change. Now, what surprises me is that they are doing 1 tire at a time. In other words, they are jacking up the left side of the car, and then they'll go over and jack up the right side. I would assume that if you were changing rear tires, it'd be a whole lot faster to take this jack and stick it under the rear differential so that you could obviously do it that much quicker. But this is the way they have chosen. We are 40 seconds and counting at the moment. So judging by other cars we've seen here on pit road, guys, this is still a fairly quick stop. The right rear tire, sorry Bob, is going on now as we speak, and that seems to be going fairly routinely, but we're over a minute already, so this is green flag time. It's slipping away.
Interesting strategy. The rule is you cannot jack the entire car off the ground, all 4 wheels at one time, but there may not be the mechanical capability to raise the car from the rear and have both rear wheels off the ground so you can change them both at the same time.
And he just went a lap down as the 32 car of Stu Hayner just went by start finish.
Well, it didn't really cost them a lot of time there. Basically, the fueling and the tire change probably cost them 2 or 3 seconds there. The fueling and the tire change took about the same amount of time.
And Bernie Cochran is coming into the pit lane, and that's a good move because he was losing 0.3 of a second a lap. They couldn't afford to stay out anymore.
Now we'll be looking for a tire change here, Bill Weber.
I'll tell you one thing, this is a huge surprise because I had just finished talking to Bernie Cochran Sr. They were expecting the 4 car to come down pit road. They were going to take the tires off the 4 and check and see if they needed it. You can see David Murray is standing on the wall. He's just putting his gloves on. They were not prepared for this at all. This is some kind of an error. Bernie Cochran was not supposed to pit at this time. They wanted to bring in the fellow team car, the 4 car, take off the rear tires and check them to see if they'd have to put tires on this car. So now they're forced to make this change now. We'll have to find out exactly what happened, but David Murray has climbed into the Pontiac Firebird. Bernie Cochran is fastening him in. His father looking over the wall watching it, glances at the clock, putting fuel in. These are gravity-fed fuelers, so it does take a long time, as Jeremy was saying. So Bernie Cochran getting David Murray in the car. Some confusion down here, certainly a surprise to this team. We'll have to find out. Pretty soon David will be on his way waiting for the final ounces of fuel to flow into the tank, and then David Murray will begin the chase for the championship of this race here at Daytona. Let's go further down pit road to Jan Beekes.
And Andy Pilgrim has climbed from his car and have the helmet off now. First of all, congratulations, a great job of driving. We enjoyed watching you work through the field. How's the car?
The car's absolutely perfect. I have to tell you, we had a pretty miserable practice and we missed qualifying. We just had teething problems. It's a semi-new team, certainly a new car, and I'm new with the team, so it wasn't a real good practice qualifying, but that was superb. The car, everything came together. So far, so good.
Now, you did change 2 rear tires. Now, you jacked the left side and then the right side of the car. Is it possible just to jack up the back of the car and change them both at one time?
Yeah, but there's an issue with fueling the car because you have to really lean the car to fuel it. So they kind of do one side, the opposite, and then they do the other side just in case they have to change fronts.
Okay, there's the answer. Let's go back to Bill.
Bernie, what are you doing here?
Well, we lost radio contact early on, and I kept clicking and waving my hand the last lap trying to get him in, and I guess they weren't expecting me. There's not much I could do.
How is your car? Early on, it looked like you were catching Stu, then he appeared to be pulling away.
Yeah, I started catching him, and then I started using up the tires, and he's been doing this a little bit longer than I have, so he was a little better in traffic than I was.
How are your tires?
Pretty good. I think we'll be fine. We're in good shape. We'll let David take him to the finish.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
So his teammate, David Murray, is out in 5th place, but still on the lead lap.
And that is key because if we were to get a full course yellow at this stage and he was down a lap, he would remain down a lap, and that would really hurt them. So that is key to get out on that lead lap.
Murray, one of the drivers, as I mentioned, that will be performing in the Rolex 24 at Daytona, the 24-hour race that begins tomorrow afternoon here on ESPN2.
He's not getting a lot of slack here from the 39 car.
It's Steve McNeely, I believe, to make the change to Scott Harrington. There's the race leader, Stu Hainer.
And we understand that he may be pitting this lap. We do listen into their radio contact. So, but of course, this is a multi-car team, so we have to be careful.
Well, his lead is 1 minute and 25 seconds over the 4 car of Bob Walton, and you got to believe that that's a good, sizable lead.
Well, don't forget, Marty, they will be standing still for about a minute, or maybe even a little bit more, and a very long run down pit lane here at 60 miles an hour.
The 0 car, Scott Maxwell, is moving through the field rapidly, working traffic. Our leader is in the pits.
And I think this is a good move, because remember the rule about if you go full course yellow, they bunch the field up because they keep pit lane closed. He's got the 1 minute 25 second lead. They might as well take advantage of it.
Undoing the belts inside the cockpit, Stu Hainer preparing for the handover. Let's get to Will Weber.
John Heinrichsey with the helmet on. He will replace Stu Hainer. Window net is down, and Hainer is out of the car right after bringing it to a stop. Heinrichsey, who climbs in, test drives Corvettes for a living. A dream job if you can get it. Right front tire coming off, right front tire going on. They're also going to look at the right rear. Everybody else in this field is hoping this team will make a mistake on pit road, because these two drivers rarely will make them on the racetrack. Heinrichsey is in the car. Now they've gone to the rear tires on this Pontiac Firebird. Hainer is buckling him in. They're putting fuel in, jacking the rear of the car. Now the left rear is off, putting on a new left rear tire. So they will make a 4-tire change on this car. So originally that was not the plan, but Hainer had reported that the car was getting a little loose out on the racetrack. So now Heinrichsey plugs in the radio. They will simply wait for the fuel. They don't need a full tank, but they will probably try and top off as much as possible, just so they don't run the danger of running out. Now an official standing in front of the car. We'll have to wait and see if everything's okay here. Waiting for the fuel. The crew chief stands in front of the car. Joe Aquilani, the car owner, watches from the pits. Heinrichsey looking forward, still waiting on fuel. Remember, these are gravity fed. These are agonizing moments for the driver. Now they have the fuel tank out. They've got the cap on. The car is dropped. The 32 goes out, and he will remain the leader because the 4 car is coming down pit road, and it will go to the attention of Bernie Cochran Motorsports.
And that position is at the very end of pit lane as Rob Walton pulls into the pits. Meanwhile, back out onto the track comes John Heinrichsey as the crew talks it over. We'll be back with more from Daytona. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. Bob Varsha, Jeremy Dale, and Marty Reed with you for the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour. And those are the first and second place cars in the race in the overall, the Grand Sports class. And the difference was purely pit stop, Jeremy.
Yeah, it was. David Murray's team able to make up a little bit. But I have to tell you, I'm extremely impressed with John Heinrichsey coming out of the pit lane and essentially being up to speed instantly. I mean, he literally came out of the pit lane. David Murray was coming up, was catching him, and instantly Heinrichsey was up to speed.
Well, the other thing, we got to give a tip of the hat to Bernie Cochran's team. Remember, they got caught short. They weren't expecting the 2-car in. They got him out, and they were, remember, over 7 seconds down. Now they're 2.
Here's another battle. 25 to the left of your screen, 4th. The 0 car of Scott Maxwell is 5th. And just behind them, right there, the number 54, Terry Borcheller, is running in 6th place. Now the 25 car pits from 4th place, so it becomes a battle for 4th between Maxwell and Borcheller. Jan Bikas.
The number 25 car as well. We're going to see how quick this pit stop is. We do see the jack ready, so we will see some tires changed here. We'll wait to see exactly how many that may be. First thing the crew does is go to the tires to look at them to see, in fact, if they do need replacing. And now it appears as though the only tires that are going to be changed, at least at this juncture, are going to be those on the right side of the car. Now, interesting, we are adding some oil to the engine at the moment. Seems like they knew ahead of time that this particular engine may burn a little bit of that Valvoline that they're putting in the car right now. But of course, these pit stops, as Bill has put it so well, these are agonizingly long pit stops, so they actually have plenty of time to do things like add oil, change tires, and so on. Now, Peter Sachs was in the car. Chuck Snipes is now buckling into the car, so we obviously have the mandatory driver change going on. And I do see a few other tires on the pit wall, but it appears as though the right side tires are the ones being changed. Bill, you've got some action too?
Touring leader is in. Joe Nonamaker is out. Bill Pate is climbing in, and these two guys, different body sizes, so you have to keep that in mind when you're setting up your race car. But they've got their car here, the 43 car on pit road. A limited amount of cars in this class today, but Nonamaker, who owns this team, is really hoping that they can showcase just how strong their team is in this race today. He'll run around and guide Pate out of the pits, not changing tires on this car. The Mazda is down, and it's a way to need a lot of fuel. So John Nonamaker sends Bill Pate back out onto the track.
Nonamaker from Massillon, Ohio. Bill Pate from Lafayette, Indiana. Pate takes the car back out the racetrack.
This is a great shot here from up above. Watch how this road tightens up right there with that guardrail. Many drivers over the years have crashed leaving the pits here, and that's exactly why.
Including some very well-known names. Meanwhile, back up on the lead, John Heinrichs with traffic ahead of him. Now he's been able to pull away slightly from the second place car, David Murray, but there is traffic up ahead as they head for the banking. Now we're having multiple pit stops by one of our cars that was contending.
Power here on Heinrichs' car to go around the BMW.
Let's get to Jan Bikas.
Well, we were watching that pit stop of car number 25, the Ford Mustang. They had a brilliant pit stop. They would have been done in about 1 minute 15 seconds, but then there was a problem inside the car. Chuck Snipes could not get the seat belts to his liking. They had to take the window net back down again and make an adjustment. That is so frustrating when the crew is able to get everything done to their liking, but then the driver just doesn't have things, the belts in this case, where they should be. An agonizingly long 1 minute 51 second pit stop.
After all of that work to get to this position in the race.
And that car actually smokes a little bit, so I'm not surprised they had to add a little bit of oil to that car. You see how the Mazda a little bit better under braking there.
When we see more than one car on the racetrack, the tendency is to believe that the heavier, more powerful cars are going to be better all around. We've seen graphic evidence today that's not always the case. The touring cars, even the compacts, will be better under braking and may handle a lot more nimbly than the big grand sports cars.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, braking has everything to do with weight and momentum, and to slow these very heavy cars down, even though they have enormous brakes, takes incredible amount of stopping power.
This is for position 94 and 18, running 9th and 10th.
Look at this wheel-to-wheel through turn 6, back up onto the banking, going under the 328 BMW.
Is it smoke from the 94 car? Now that silver BMW number 81 up high on the track is a class leader. The leader in the sports class.
Yeah, and what's remarkable about that, that car sitting 8th overall, and the second place sports car sitting back in 19th overall. What that tells me is that the 81 car probably has not stopped for fuel at this point.
I'm watching that 94 car on the backstretch. It seems to be smoking from the back.
Yeah, Craig Conway, remember we saw that little piece of material flapping earlier. I have no idea if it's connected, but there does appear to be smoke coming from Conway's number 94.
Well, it doesn't seem to be too short on horsepower as he comes up out of the chicane onto the banking. Horsepower seems to be fine.
It's a cross-border driving team. Peter Lockhart from Toronto, Daytona, from right here in Daytona Beach, back on the lead. 32, Heinrichs. Whoops. Now a team car. That's the 39 machine. That might be Scott Harrington. I'm not sure if they've made their pit stop. You see, he's pulled down near the pit entrance, but there's no way he's going to get it all the way in. Well, I say that. Is he going to try and push it?
Well, this certainly shouldn't bring out a full course yellow. It's in a very safe place, and they'll either leave it there or bring a truck out and just flat tow it in. But it shouldn't be cause for a full course caution.
He is pushing that car. Meanwhile, up front, John Heinrichsey continues on his way, expanding his lead over David Murray out to almost 3 seconds now. He'll be back to Daytona. Welcome back to the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour. There's your leader, John Heinrichsey, as the pit stops continue, as does the position swapping on the racetrack. Coming up on ESPN tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the ladies' final from the Australian Open, first Grand Slam tennis tournament of the year. It'll be Conchita Martinez versus #1 seed Martina Hingis, #1 female player in the world. It's coming your way at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on ESPN. Whoops, we've got a car off and apparently dead in the greenery on the infield portion here at Daytona.
Well, it's got battery power. You can see the right front brake smoking there. That's what that smoke is coming out of the right front corner.
Our number 53, J.J. Kelly from Plantation, Florida. And Kenneth Goldberg from the same town. Wait, got it fired again. Whoops, but he does have damage.
This looks like it's back in the chicane. Is this the chicane?
We're about to find out.
That's not the chicane. That is the International Horseshoe.
Hairpins, yep.
That is some big-time understeer right there.
Well, he had a moment to stop and think about it. Now he pulls off onto the safety road behind the barrier and parks it. There's the view to the International Horseshoe. Gives you an idea of how far he traveled. Meanwhile, in the chicane, rush hour traffic. Let's find out what's going on with our front-running car. Here's Bill Weber.
I'm with Stu Hainer, and I've watched Hainer and Heinrichsey work their magic for years. Is it going to happen today? How's your car?
The car is great. Whether we can work the magic, I don't know. I mean, this is actually the best position we've been in a long time at this point of the race. But the car was really wonderful. I mean, we were a little confused and debating on how we're going to set the car up because we didn't know what was going to happen toward the end of the stint. But I think we must have hit it pretty close because we're still running some pretty good lap times at the end. The car is great. I mean, I was taking care of the brakes, taking care of the tires, taking care of the fuel, and you know, I think you know, if John can, you know, if everything goes our way, we're gonna pull this deal off. I hope.
And it's a little trouble getting to the old bus stop.
Well, the bus stop is that thing surprises you all the time because you know if somebody just drops a little bit of gravel on there, you don't see it till you get in there, and all of a sudden you just slide. And in fact, I even did it on the very first lap. You know, I was like, I got in there and. It just, I'm not sure if a couple cars that went through on the parade lap might have got in there, but all of a sudden it was pretty doggone slick. But then after that, the next lap it was fine. You know, well, maybe the next lap after that, because I was sort of testing at the third lap. But yeah, the car was fine.
All right, good luck.
Thank you very much, Bill.
That's Stu Hainer. Let's go to Jan.
Bill, earlier we talked to Jason Priestley after he got out of one car. He is now back in the 46 Ford Mustang. So he's driving 2 cars today in this race. He's in a battle right now on the racetrack, but there's a concern by race officials that they have seen the window net flapping on that car. Now, of course, if the window net comes down, he will have to come on pit road and fix it. So they're hoping that maybe it's just not as tight as it should be. Guys?
Well, I'm sure we can get a little close-up camera work and either come to their aid or completely blow them out of the water.
Yeah, they're running 8th right now. The last thing they want is for us to give away the fact that now the window net's there.
That window net's in perfect shape. There's nothing wrong with that.
Grave responsibility of television. Looks like the lower left, like the back seat corner of that thing may be loose. The front edge looks okay. What a day Jason Priestley is having, driving 2 different cars, both of them in the top 10 throughout this race.
Well, interesting thing in this series, which I read in the rules, is that you can actually score points in 2 cars if the cars are in different classes, which I thought was a very interesting rule because that means you could actually win 2 championships in the same series if you were to play it right. You'd really have to play it right.
Because everything would have to fall your way. And number 3 heads for the pit lane.
That's the team car to Bernie Cochran and David Murray.
Now the 94 has pitted behind him. It's Craig Conway pitting from 9th place. This is the car that was smoking. Looks like the hood's going up. Jan Bikus.
And we're going to look with you as we go into the engine compartment to see where that smoke may be coming from. You can see that it's kind of coming from back behind the engine. And of course the fan, which is mandatory on this particular car, it's not on most race cars, that's tending to blow the smoke around a little bit here. They have checked the oil. There is oil, some left anyway, in the engine. And they're going to, looks like they're going to send the 94 back out again because they appear as though the smoke, and that's the important thing, we're looking behind the car. There's no oil on the actual pit road, so that shouldn't be a problem. The race officials should let them continue.
Good thing about having a radiator fan. Look, no smoke.
And this is one of the few Camaros, guys. This the Grand Sports cars dominated by the Firebirds. One of the few Camaros that is running out there. And that car's not running on ethanol, by the way, just in case there's some confusion there.
Well, that has cost him time on the racetrack. Currently shown in 11th position and a lap down is Craig Conway. Up front, John Heinrichsey pouring into the dust kicked up in the chicane. Plenty of time still to run. We'll be back with more from Daytona after this. Back live at Daytona, a great battle on the infield headed for the international hairpin. Car number 11, Doug Goad, being drawn up under braking by that BMW M3 of Terry Borcheller.
Yeah, and I think it's only a matter of time. Terry has been closing in the last few laps. You see the Pontiac pulls about a half a car length there on the run up to the kink.
Jan Bikus has more on the number 11 car situation.
Yes, and Jeremy Dale was talking about it earlier that this is a leased car. The reason it is leased is because a Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, a brand new one, is very, very hard to get a hold of. So they actually leased it from a Canadian dealer, and then they took it back to the States and modified it. It is the only one in the field. It has an aluminum engine. It's brand new. It should be fast, but right now it looks like the BMW might be faster.
Well, the 11 car got caught out there a little bit, was trying to defend his position going into turn 6. You can see nothing like horsepower, and I think Doug Goad probably is going to be a little more defensive than Devin Powell was. He got caught out at 6 and ran a little wide. The BMW took the short line up onto the banking, but I think, guys, it's only a matter of time here. A little bit defensive into the bus stop, dropping a wheel at that second apex.
He's going to want to get a good launch off this corner up onto the banks.
Yeah, boy, that BMW handles so well.
So look at a field summary, upper left corner. John Heinrichsey running in first place. David Murray, Doug Goad, Terry Borcheller. That's the battle we're watching right now. And Scott Maxwell. They're 6th through 10th.
And the lead has dropped from 7 seconds to 5.5.
In 12th position, the leader in the sports class, Mike Fitzgerald in a BMW. Back in the 19th spot, the leader in the touring class is Bill Pate in a Mazda MX-6. And in position 21 is the compact class leader, the Olds Achieva of Ed Magner. The leader was in some heavy traffic while we were watching that battle behind him.
Yeah, that gap at the front has closed up a little bit.
Murray shown 5.64 seconds behind John Heinrichsey.
And here we are back to that battle for third. And this could be a good opportunity for Borcheller. He can throw it in. Here he goes. Under braking. BMW very good on the brakes, and he forces Goad out. Goad did leave a small hole there. And Borcheller moves up to third position. Now the question is, can Goad stay close enough here under braking going through turn 6 to get that position back going down to the chicane? I don't think he's close enough, guys.
Oh, the tail end came out on him too. The car's not handling all that well.
This battle taking place about 45 seconds behind David Murray in second place. So these guys are basically fighting over third to the flag with less than 20 minutes to go in this race. Jan Bikas.
Well, you're talking about that white BMW number 54. The crew's big concern is that the car is working just how they would like, with the exception of they really don't feel that they have the horsepower of the Pontiac. And obviously that is something that we have seen play into this battle back and forth, that they may have the handling, but they feel that no matter what they do, they'll never be able to match that kind of horsepower on the straightaways.
That's a great illustration of how the Pontiac can close up on the banking. But once that BMW gets by, it's very hard for the Pontiac to get back around him. Look at this. They come into traffic here. Closing rate is pretty phenomenal.
Car number 48, that Oldsmobile there, that may be our compact class leader. Here comes the Pontiac. Big time horsepower pulling by, but now where the BMW shines on the twisty bits of the infield.
Boy, that's not what Terry Borcheller wanted. He wanted to be able to maintain that position. Look at Goad, very wide there. He wanted to be able to maintain that position into the infield so he could stretch it out. Look at how early Goad has to turn and scrub speed on the entry, and that does hurt him on the exit. Look at the BMW on the exit. Closes right up.
Now where are you going, left or right?
Now
kink left coming up.
Now here comes the kink. Will Goad leave that gap open on the inside as he did last lap?
That's why they call it a wide track Pontiac.
Getting wider all the time.
Yeah. And he did not leave that gap open.
Yeah. Oh, look at the tail. He got the back end loose. He's hanging on. I mean, obviously, I think the weight of the vehicle and the pressure that Borcheller's put on there is basically taking the tires out from underneath Doug Goad.
Yeah, look at Borcheller. Does turn a little bit later, kind of squares the corner a bit more, but definitely has the better exit speed. The problem is he doesn't have the horsepower, and you can see the Firebird there.
Goes Goad. Borchello really squared off the entrance to the chicane last time around. Let's see if he tries that again. Of course, now he's not going to have the lead this time.
No, he's not going to have the lead.
Remarkable weight difference between these two cars. 2,850 pounds for the BMW. The Pontiac, 3,200 pounds.
Yeah, very different lines. And that is partially driving style and partially what the car wants. The BMW, a lighter car, can turn in much more directly than the Firebird.
As that battle cools a bit for the moment, back up on the lead, John Heinrichs has pulled out to a 9.3-second lead over David Murray. So things are going his way. Heinrichs and Hayter try to lead from flag to flag here at the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour. Above perhaps the most famous beach in motorsports, or in sports generally, Daytona Beach, site of the Rolex 24 at Daytona, beginning tomorrow. We'll be here on ESPN 2 at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time with 30 minutes of preparation for one of the world's great sports car classics. And then at 1 o'clock, the green flag will fly and we'll be underway for twice around the clock, the Rolex 24 36th edition. 3 hours of coverage beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then on Sunday at 7 a.m. Eastern will be coming your way with all the highlights of what happened through the night as we run down the last 6 hours, 25% of the total distance to the checkered flag, with interviews and race recaps to follow. Here is the top 10 in the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour. John Heinrichs, having taken over from Stu Hainer, they have led since the green flag dropped. David Murray now 12.88 seconds back and fading. Doug Goad in the middle of a great battle with Terry Borcheller and a Pontiac versus BMW battle. And then Scott Maxwell rounding out the top 5. These great late afternoon aerial shots are coming to you from the Bud One airship, which reminds you that fresh beer tastes better. This is for third place. They are still at it. 3 wide, side by side, door handle to door handle, and they've got some heavy braking coming up.
And side by side through the kink. Whoa, big slide there by Doug Goad through that kink about 120 miles an hour, and he's pretty much forced to let Terry Borcheller go through there, and these guys have pretty much been exchanging positions every lap.
Yeah, but the tires are getting more and more worn on the 11 car. You can watch it every time Doug Goad goes through a corner, he's sliding.
Less than 14 minutes to go And around a 3.5-mile racetrack, that's just a handful of laps. Jan Bikas.
Well, right as you guys were describing that big slide by car number 11, the crew jumped to action, and we expect to see the yellow car number 11 on pit road. I assume that Doug Goad says or has said on the radio that he has a tire going down. They ran for the tires, so we may see that third place battle end here on pit road.
Well, if it does, they're going to lose more than just third place. They are just 26 seconds ahead of the 5th place car. Oh, car number 2. David Murray, our 2nd place car, is off and steaming.
And that is not good. His day is done. He's out of the car. And that looks like steam. It doesn't look like fire. It looks like steam. Bill, can you help us?
I'd like to help you, but I came running down here to find out from Bernie Cochran what was the matter with the 2 car. He's the owner of this team, and he's asking me. Remember, they have had no radio contact with that car, David Murray, the driver. So I came running down here. He's going, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I said, "We got to report your car's off the track." He said, "Find out for me." So
well,
we all found out together.
You can tell him it looks like steam coming out from under the hood, and David has gotten out of the car. He's climbed over the wall. The hood is down, and he's parked, and his helmet is off.
So the day goes up in a cloud of steam after a great drive by both Bernie Cochran and David Murray up front. That gives huge breathing room to John Heinrichs. His gap over the new 2nd place car of Terry Borcheller, 51.22 seconds. And we are down to just about 12 minutes to go in this 2-hour run.
Are you tuning up your vocal cords, Jeremy?
It's "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light."
You guys are.
Well, you've still got a chance. I mean,
yeah, we got a chance. I mean, you know, like 4 or 5 cars could break here.
Maxwell will move into 4th place because of Murray's mishap. So you've only got 3 to get by.
What about if I put a guy on the podium? How about that? Can we redo the deal?
Oh, now we're backsliding.
Can we renegotiate?
51 seconds and climbing. John Heinrichs running out the string with the sun in his eyes on a beautiful afternoon at Daytona Beach, Florida. We'll be back. Long shadows cast on NASCAR turns 1 and 2 at the world-renowned Daytona International Speedway. Then out into the fading light of a Florida afternoon comes our race leader, John Heinrichs, in his Pontiac Formula. He and partner Stu Hainer, who started this car, have led from the first green flag of the day in this 2-hour battle for the new Motorola Cup Series. Neatly through the traffic in the chicane.
One of the things that the Motorola Cup did, which obviously some people liked, some people didn't, they got rid of the turbos. Last year, if you were here with us, the Toyota Super Turbo sat on the pole with Eric Van Cleef. And now with all normally aspirated, they just felt it was too hard to patrol, and they decided to unload them.
And very hard to police the turbo cars. I mean, you can put little boost regulators on them. You can put little computers that measure the peak boost. But it's just too tricky to keep track of all that.
Let's pick up one of the good battles going on back in the compact class. The old Achieva, Magner and Norton leading the Hyundai Tiburon in its first appearance in this series. One of the drivers on that, Didier Schreinen. Whoops. And the leader in the class is slowing on the infield. The 6 cars about 4 seconds has already gone by, we are told. And so a dramatic twist in the action in the compact class. There is the number 6 Hyundai. That car being shared, as I was saying earlier, by Mark Craig from St. Eustache, Quebec, and from Mount St. Hilaire, Quebec, Didier Schreinen, who doubles as a television racing talent on French TV in Quebec.
Now, let me get this straight. This is a Canadian car.
I knew that was coming.
Well, we never stipulated what class. We said winner.
What a tough break for these guys who have led this class for roughly an hour at this point. Ed Magner behind the wheel. Buddy Norton started the car.
Yeah, Buddy very experienced in these cars.
You know, this is the first time a Hyundai has raced in any of these American series, no matter who's been sanctioning. So this would be a big feather in their cap to take the victory here in the compact class.
They are in the lead right now with about 8, make that a little under 8 minutes to go in the race. Bill Weber.
Well, it could be a number of things. I'm here with Buddy Norton. We're hearing CV clutch, CV joint clutch, axle. Any ideas?
No, but if it's any one of those things, we're done anyway. We're not even sure where Ed is right now. He's parked. Okay, so that's the end of that.
But it was a great run.
Real good, yeah. The car ran fine. The Hyundai guys were real fast, keeping us fast. That's the way it goes.
Okay, that's Buddy Norton, co-driver on that car, and this is something we will see throughout the 24-hour race. Great runs that end too early.
Bill, you can tell him his car is parked on the kink on the infield stretch between the two hairpins. Now the touring class, the Mazda MX-6 number 43, Joe Nonamaker and Bill Pate leading the way over a similar car. VW Golf GTI in third. And this battle is not over yet in the waning minutes of this race. The shadows drifting across, the light beginning to come down. A lot of glare in the driver's eyes as they come down through the tri-oval area.
Yeah, that's Starita's car in second place there on their screen. That's really the 47 car.
That's a Grand
Sports. John Kohler, Gary Smith.
There's John Kohler, Gary Smith, number 47, down to Bill Weber.
Well, it could be a good day for Planet Earth, huh? Planet Earth Motorsports. Joe Nonamaker, your car's running 1-2.
Yep, it's going to be a great day for Planet Earth. If we don't activate the race gods here, we got 5 minutes left. We're running 1-2 right now. It's just really great.
We talked earlier today, not a lot of cars in this division here today, but a chance for you to really showcase what you've got in this series.
Yep, that's very true. There weren't a lot of cars showed up, and it's really unfortunate, but you know what? Not being egotistical, this is our 5th straight win in this class at this track. This is our track for these cars, so we got number 5. We don't care who else is here.
Not yet you don't. Not yet you
That's
don't.
true. I'm sorry, guys.
He started the 43 car, and Bill Pate's in there now.
Well, earlier we showed you a graphic which said that David Murray held the record for wins, consecutive wins at a single racetrack by a driver. He had 5 wins at Sebring, Florida. So we could be seeing a little history here as you look at the number 43 car, Bill Pate, the leader in the touring class. Barely 5 minutes to go in the race. Back to our overall leader, up high, going around the compact class leader. That's the sort of thing we get in a series like this. John Heinrichs with just a handful of laps remaining. You see the gap has come down, but 3/4 of a minute should be more than enough for Heinrichs to feather it all the way around. Just a lap or 2 from the finish. Stand by for more from Daytona. We are back live at Daytona International Speedway. Bob Varsha along with Marty Reed, Jeremy Dale, Bill Weber, and Jan Bikas, as we will be for tomorrow's Rolex 24 at Daytona. Right now it's the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour, and we expect a white flag shortly for our race leader, John Heinrichs. They have led from flag to flag. Heinrichs and his teammate Stu Hainer. The car behind them, 41 seconds back up the road. Terry Borcheller and Andy Pilgrim started 25th. They currently run in second place. And the white flag waves over John Heinrichs. One more lap of this 3.56-mile racetrack to go, and they will have the inaugural victory in the Motorola Cup.
And I must say, they have driven a, from a team standpoint, from a driving standpoint, it's just been perfect. I mean, they've made no mistakes.
The last time that a team went wire to wire back in 1994 at Indianapolis Raceway Park, winning flag to flag, it was a 3-hour race. Guess who was driving? Stu Hainer, John Heinrichs.
Probably in a Canadian-built Firebird.
It's not going to help you, buddy.
I don't know, Marty.
Warm it up.
Jan and Bill and I might have to go into conference on whether or not we're going to hold Jeremy to it.
Warm it up, baby.
Okay, Marty has cast his vote.
I think we're only on the air for like another 10 minutes. I think we're going to run out of time. You got to get all these winter interviews. I mean, there's so much to do.
Actually, the leads dropped down to 39 seconds, but I hate to tell you, that's an American in that car, too.
Yeah, I know. And that's a German car. I mean, I'm going to have that to fall back on.
John Heinrichs, the chief engineer for the Pontiac Firebird and Chevy Camaro projects. has been doing this for a long time. Won the championship in what was then called the Sports Car Club of America Escort Endurance Championship for this sort of race car in the Grand Sports division. He also won the IMSA version of what was called showroom stock racing in 1989. 93, another SCCA national championship. 96, the IMSA title again. And last year, what was called the Speed Vision Cup in the Grand Sports class. Car number 81 is the leader in the sports class. And just ahead is the third place car in the Grand Sports class. Doug Goad had such a huge battle with Terry Borcheller's BMW. In the stretch run now, coming off NASCAR 3 and 4, John Heinrichs from Holly, Michigan. And the checkered flag will wave from the flag stand. Car number 32, John Heinrichs, picks up the victory, co-driving with Stu Hainer, inaugural winners and deserving ones, a flag-to-flag victory in the Motorola Cup Daytona 2-hour. There's Stu Hainer accepting congratulations from the crew. There is car number 81, our leader in the sports class. That is Mike Fitzgerald. Jeff McMillan started the car. Fitzgerald will finish it. 96 BMW 328 IS.
Bob, we're getting a report that Borcheller may be running into fuel problems here on the last lap in the BMW.
Well, he's coming to the line
he's
right
coming to the
now.
line now.
And he is safely across. As we watch Mike Fitzgerald now heading into the setting sun for the final time today. And he takes the checkered flag in the sports division.
Doug Goad has crossed the line third overall.
In the touring division, there is car number 43, Bill Pate, who is on a lap of his own, so he will be unchallenged. He too heads into the sun and the checkered flag, completing the race in the third of our 4 classes. And we'll be looking for the leader in the compact class, Mike Craig, in car number 6, the Hyundai. And what a weekend for these guys in a car that had been never raced in this sort of competition in North America. They come out and take their debut win. Let's begin the victory celebration down to Jan Beekes.
And yes, and who better to celebrate with than Stu Hainer? Now, Stu, first of all, congratulations, but you're known as a driver who protects the equipment. Is that what made the difference today for you?
Well, I'd like to hope so. I had it pretty easy actually today. Car was really, really well set up today, and the crew just had the car working perfect, and I didn't have to do that much work to go fast. So I guess I was protecting it. But when John got in the car, it was as good as good as it gets. I think the brakes were fine. We hardly had to use the brakes, and the mileage seemed to be really good. I think everything was really good on the car today.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations indeed to Stu Hainer and John Heinrichs. Yet another victory in their glittering career, co-driving with one another. We'll take a break and then have more of the victory celebrations, the first of Speed Weeks 98 from Daytona. There is the view from the all-new Daytona International Speedway victory lane up to the Bud 1 airship. Thanks, guys, for those great aerial shots today. We'll see you tomorrow for the rollout for the Rolex 24. Meanwhile, down in that brand new victory lane, John Heinrichs has rolled it in. Bill Weber is down there.
And John Heinrichs about to climb out, get a handshake from his teammate Stu Hainer. Well, I was there that night. You led wire to wire at Indianapolis. You repeated it here today. That's a great run.
Were we to wire this time?
Yes, sir.
How about that?
That other guy,
Second
Hainer, started it off.
Yeah, yeah, I know that guy.
A great run for you.
Thank you. Boy, Stu did a great job for me. The car was just like it was supposed to be. It was in perfect condition. The crew did a good job. We decided to change tires in that stop and make sure we had enough gas, and they did everything perfect. We had good tires, brakes, and, you know, what more could you want? The crew did a great job with the Pontiac Firebird.
You appeared to have a comfortable lead, but were you aware the two new car fell out, and when were you aware?
I was aware when I went by in the infield and saw him smoking there. So up until then, I didn't know that. I did know he was back about 8 or 10 seconds most of the time and holding right about there. And I was worried, but when they said he went out, then it felt a lot better.
Great way to start the season.
You bet, it's a great start.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
To Jan Bikas.
Well, we saw a great battle on the racetrack today between the car number 54, the BMW, and the car number 11. First of all, Doug, go. You were in the yellow 11, I should say. Tell me about this battle. You had more power. He seemed to have better handling, but in the end, looks like he got you.
Yeah, handling always wins over power, trust me. We stopped for fuel a little bit early, and the tires were cooked, and Bill had me absolutely covered on the infield. I mean, he was underneath, around, on top, and all I was doing is just powering around him when I got a chance in the straights. Once in a while, I get a break in traffic, and then finally he got a big break, and I couldn't make it up. He did a great job. It was a lot of fun.
Terry, tell me, your particular case here, the BMW, what can you do to make it go a little quicker down the straightaway to then try to go for the overall?
I think the key with the BMW is to try to pull in the draft to somebody like Doug, because that's really, he said it pretty well. We had him covered in handling. He had us covered on the top, and Andy did a great job giving me a car that was just like when we put it out there. So he always does. I knew he would, but it was a great race. I think the draft plays a big part. I was sucked up under him a couple of times. Yeah.
Now, what would have happened if you had not had to start from the back, if you would have started, let's say, on the front row?
To be honest, Andy and I both stayed out of trouble real well. I don't think the results would have been any different, because I don't think there was any way we could have kept up with the Pontiac that won. I think we were about 50 seconds down or something like that. We were quite a ways back, so we might have gave him a run, but I don't think so. Not today, not on this track, but we'll get him next time.
All right, guys, congratulations to all. It was the best race of the day. Thanks.
39.38 seconds was the margin of victory. John Heinrichsey over Terry Borcheller. Final results: Heinrichsey over Borcheller, Doug Goad, and of course all of these men had teammates. Ran sports cars 1st through 10th. 11th through 20th includes our sports winner, Mike Fitzgerald. Also our touring class winner, Bill Pate, along with the compact class winner, the Craig Hyundai. As we run down through the field, final thoughts on what appeared to me to be a great debut for this series. Marty Reed?
Well, round one goes to the Americans, and I want to hear the national anthem there, Jeremy.
Well, guys, I was talking to our producer, Neil Goldberg, in the booth, and he tells me we can't get music clearance on that. So
Francis Scott Key has been dead for a long time. I don't think it's a problem.
Well, I'm Francis Scott off key.
All right, well, you may be buying. Maybe we'll let you off the hook.
Okay, I'll buy some beers, Not dinner, but a couple of beers.
Well, we didn't want to ruin the Shop Talk audience anyway. They're coming up next.
Congratulations to everyone involved. Bill Weber, what do you expect tomorrow when we roll out for the Rolex?
I'll tell you one thing. I think this really sets the tone for that race, because, this is basically an endurance series. And still, it's the little things that can get you right down at the end. We saw some cars run extremely well, but not make it to the finish. We saw that in the 24-hour race last year. It's really the unique things that happen in the 24-hour race that make it so exciting. That half hour that leads up to the race and then the green flag, it's 24 and a half hours of the most exciting racing of the season.
And Bill, one thing that I've been saying throughout the qualifying coverage is that I think that we talk about the tortoise and the hare. I think that the hare is going to win this particular race. And that's because I think there's enough fast cars that if one fast car does not have problems, that will go to the front. Bob?
All right, thanks one and all, gentlemen. Don't forget, tomorrow, the reason we came to Daytona, the Rolex 24 will be on the grid at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to join us as we get you set for one of the great sports car races in all the world. At 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the green flag will fly, and we will be on our way with 3 hours of live coverage before we say goodnight for the moment. Then on Sunday morning, we'll have all the highlights of what happened from the time we left you on Saturday afternoon, and we'll have 6 more hours of live coverage all the way up to the checkered flag with 30 minutes of post-race to follow. It's going to be a great race. The drama begins early and runs twice around the clock. Today, however, it was the debut of a great new racing series, a Canadian-American Motorola Cup. Congratulations to Stu Hainer and John Heinrichsey on their win. Shop Talk is coming up next here on ESPN2. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the Rolex. Until then, I'm Bob Varsha for Jeremy Dale, Marty Reed, Bill Weber, and Jan Vikas. So long for the moment from the gleaming Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.